Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I'm Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord and Jake Gordon. Today is the day. Nate McMillan gone, Quin Snyder hired from the last time we talked, and he will be coaching already. They're throwing him in the fire. They still have the old staff. Whoever wants to take it can take it, but what are you guys expecting in game one tonight against the Washington Wizards?
They just got to keep it up. I mean, they've been responding to Joe Prunty. Whatever he's been doing has been working pretty well. I don't think a team coached by Nate McMillan wins that game against the Nets. But yeah, I liked what I saw post Nate. Hopefully that just keeps going. That's really all I'm worried about.
At the very least, energy. You shouldn't expect much difference schematically, but in terms of the energy, there should be a different level of that. And I agree with Jake. Whatever Joe's doing seems to be working. There's been small changes in terms of the rotation and roles, and those seem to be working. But most of it that I've seen is energy. The energy is different, which is great as we go on this stretch run.
Yeah, that's kind of what I expected. I mean, I'm not expecting anything too crazy. Snyder's not going to come in here scheming things left and right. He is regarded as an offensive mastermind, but I think the energy is just critical. And I think these guys, once Nate was fired, I don't think any of them had any ill will towards Nate. I think they all liked him. Did they like him necessarily being their coach? I don't think they thought he was the smartest mind. But I think they took responsibility after the firing and know it's up to them. As we said last time on the podcast, Alex, there's no more excuses. Like if this roster, if this group, if this core is going to be able to get it done, if they can't get it done with Quin Snyder, you have to really start thinking about major changes this offseason. And that's not to say that I'm expecting them to go on this run and finish the season 15-5, or I guess they have 20 something games left. I'm not expecting that, but they're running out of excuses, and it's up to the players now to make a change, or this core is going to be broken up.
Yeah, I saw some people talking about how, staying on the future topic, how, everything's good now. We got a great coach. He's in here for 5 years. That's not the case. DeJounte Murray's free agency is going to be a fork in the road for this franchise. If he does not re-sign, it's going to snowball into something bad, Quin Snyder or not. So yes, we got a great guy. I think he would have been one or two for most people, Quin Snyder. And we got a good guy, but the pressure and, it's right now. We can't just be lackadaisical now that we got a guy. Because DeJounte's free agency is going to be, what sinks this ship, or, why we're going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how he uses Clint Capella. And apparently, DeJounte's already talked to him today, and he's talked to him about wanting to get Jalen Johnson more minutes and how he wants him to use him, which is great. I love that. And hopefully that encourages him to stay around if some of that stuff does, come to fruition. But, Clint Capella is a guy, he's consistently been pretty solid, but we saw what Rudy Gobert has been with and without Quin Snyder. And it'll be interesting to see if he can really elevate Clint.
Yeah, say – go ahead.
Go ahead. You're good.
They say, he's a pick and roll maestro. And if you guys remember, I know a lot of the fans probably do or don't, I don't know. We were nasty with the pick and roll. And that's all we ran for a little bit, was just Trey at the top of the key with Clint or John, and, just let Trey be Trey. I mean, he's excellent in the pick and roll. There's so many more people now who benefit from Quin Snyder potentially implementing his sets in the pick and roll. Trey, DeJounte, Clint, Jalen Johnson. Don't even scratch that. That would be a lethal combination with two ball handlers in the pick and roll. So that should be definitely exciting moving forward.
Yeah, there's no reason the Hawks shouldn't be the top team in the pick and roll when you look at this roster. I mean, Clint Capella and John Collins are two excellent big man in the pick and roll. And DeJounte Murray and Trae Young are the best as far as tandems go in the pick and roll. You couldn't give me two better guys. I mean, they're two of the best passers in the league. You got two of the best finishers in the league. There's no reason this team shouldn't be excelling on offense. But let's talk about the other side of the ball, where I think the issues still could lie. Because Snyder's a great offensive coach, and I'm not saying he's not a great defensive coach, but there's still defensive problems that need to be fixed if this team wants to see immediate results, which, as you said, Maybe we don't have to see those this season, but we have about 12 months to really see those. And if we don't see those, there's going to be questions. I mean, if you talk about next year's trade deadline, if there's not significant change between now and then, I mean, there's going to be huge changes, and I don't think anyone can disagree with that.
Yeah, especially we've seen the Hawks get come off of Kevin Huerter just to get under the luxury tax. What do you think they're going to do if the team's not good? That was a solid team, and they still shipped away one of their better players to stay under the luxury tax. And I don't know. I don't know which way it's going to go. But at least my opinion on the matter is, if they keep playing like this, they can make a run, though, because we saw it. We saw it when Nate McMillan was brought in. It was night and day from Lloyd Pierce, especially on team defense. There was a lot more effort. That team was probably a little bit better than this team. I don't know. It's probably close to even when you add in DeJounte, but I don't know. We're just going to have to see a lot more better cohesive team defense, and some guys are going to have to start hitting some threes. They've just been a very poor three-point shooting team this year. And that's, it sounds simple, but that's probably the recipe going forward.
I got a couple things to say to that, because I agree with a lot of the things you said. I'll work backwards. Saddiq Bey, I saw somebody say Saddiq Bey starting, John Collins coming off the bench. John Collins has been putrid from three, and Saddiq Bey has been a pretty nice addition. John Collins has been out 2 games with a concussion and then something else. So that's, something to think about. But more on the luxury tax. Going into next year, they're already over the luxury tax, what they have. So, there will be changes. Unless, Quin Snyder came in, talked to Tony Ressler, and was like, hey, if I'm going to commit to you for 5 years, you're going to financially commit to me and give me what I tell you we need. I'm not going to spend your money frivolously, but if I say we need something, you can't just back out. Hopefully that's part of the new arrangement, because if we can't get over that hump, our own ownership, we're never going to win a championship, no matter what.
Well, yeah, there's not really a lot of room to improve the roster with this core if you're not going to spend money. So I think that's got to be something that I just hope, and I could be totally wrong in hoping this, but I just hope that was almost like, I don't even know why that happens. And it seems like every time it gets to this point, like, why did it happen? But I just hope that's something that doesn't happen again, because you already went halfway all in with DeJounte Murray. If you're not going to spend to make the rest of the roster competent, you're never going to really build a winner. It doesn't matter who's here, whether it's Trae Young, DeJounte, Quin Snyder. It really doesn't matter. I mean, you've got to spend to create one. Look what the Golden State Warriors are doing. I mean, that team is so far over the luxury tax, but guess what? There's a reason why they win every year, because they're willing to spend. So let's get into it. Expectations just strictly for this season. The Hawks are, I think, 3.5 games out of the 6th spot. They play the Heat and the Wizards a lot coming up, so some critical matchups there. I think the Heat are the 7th seed. You got the slipping Nets because their whole team, Ben Simmons has now been shut down, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving gone. You think you could probably catch them. The Knicks are playing great, but how long does that last? What are the expectations? Can they get in the playoffs, not the play-in? Can they get out of the play-in?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I think avoiding the play-in tournament would be a huge success, because if you look at the top 4 teams of the East, the cream of the crop of the East, the Bucks, the Celtics, the 76ers, and the Cavs. At least in my opinion. You said the Knicks are playing good. They are playing good. But I think if you can be that 5 seed, even 6 would be okay. But avoiding those top 4 teams would go a long way in actually winning a playoff series.
I'll go even a step further. That outside of the Bucks and Celtics, nobody really scares me. And I know we just played the Cavs and they shot terribly. They'll definitely play better over 7 games. But the Cavs do not scare me. And the 76ers are garbage. If you've watched any of the 76ers games, you know this is not going to work in the playoffs. And to y'all's point, the Knicks are ascending. Nets are slippering and sliding all the way down. They might fall out of the play. That's how bad they're playing. So, the Hawks realistically can get to a 6 seed, without winning, 15 games. Like, they could win 14, 12 games and somehow get that 6 seed, because everybody in front of them is just falling apart.
Yeah, if it holds true and the Hawks are the 5 seed and the Cavs the 4 seed, the Cavs are pretty bad on the road. I think they're 13 and 18 on the road. That gives you a much better chance to win a playoff series.
Well, let's be real. And when you have star power like the Hawks have, which is they do have, they may not have the depth. you can win playoff series. And that's so critical, having guys like Trae Young and DeJounte Murray. They can take over the game and win a game on the road, which is what you need in the playoffs.